This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is a Fast Break Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, as always, is Ricky Widmer.
What's up, guys?
And Dave Oster.
Hey, buddy.
And today, on the Fast Break, we're going to be previewing the finals of the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. Then we're going to jump into our favorite segment, Wet Boys, and wrap it up with some Russell Westbrook talk. There's some rumors, some speculations. That NBA execs are saying that the Thunder should look into trading Russell Westbrook, their star. But before we do that, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. Don't forget to check out mostvaluablepodcast.com. You can get Dave's pimpin' shirt over there. Dave, show that off right there.
I am rocking the merch today.
If you want to check it out, go to mostvaluablepodcast.com and shop on our shop. It's the only shirt we got right now, but if you want to rep some MVP stuff, definitely pull out Dave's shirt. Then, also, if you're on iTunes, rate us 5 stars, both the Fast Break Podcast, not both, the Primetime Podcast, the Onside Kick, the Ricky Johnny Podcast. And if you're watching us on YouTube, check out the Outcast. They just interviewed Danny Parkins. If you're a Bulls, Bears, White Sox, or Cubs fans, Danny Parkins from 670 Scored sat down with Buzz and Juice. Well, sat down and then also
I would like
called
to think on the phone he was sitting down.
Well, yeah, he probably was sitting down on the phone. He talked with Buzz and Juice, and they did about a 44-minute segment over there. So definitely go check that out. And final thing is patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. I knew I was going to get it. If you want to become a patron and help support us in any way, monetarily, you can head over to patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. We have the $10 tier that allows you to be on a podcast monthly. You get to pick the topic. You get to drive the direction, and you get to call in on this phone over here. So check out patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast for not only a $10 tier, but all the other cool stuff we have on there. Let's now get into. I am terrible today. Let's get into the Eastern Conference previews. It's just been one of those weeks.
It has been a ton of podcasts this week.
We did 2.5 hours on the live lotto. Then I did the primetime podcast and a baseball segment with you yesterday.
I know how Ricky feels.
No, this week is insane because not only did we move, the Rick and Johnny's not on Sunday. It's tomorrow. Monday through Friday, I've been in the studio every night.
Now you know how he feels. He doesn't do any of this week shit, Sean.
But real
Bring
quick,
your game up.
But real quick, he's been doing this for like years now, so he's used to it.
I'm the seasoned vet. I'm like LeBron, and he's like Terry Rozier or something.
He is LeBron. I am Ben Simmons. I'm not used to this game, right? And
you're just dropping the ball everywhere.
Better comparison than Scary Terry there.
Yeah, probably. Anyways, let's jump into the Eastern Conference Finals. We're talking about Scary Terry. We're talking about LeBron James. So let's talk about the guy who's been ruling the Eastern Conference and Boston, who's trying to take him down. Eastern Conference Finals, again, the rematch from last year. The Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics. Brad Stevens absolutely playing a masterful series against Brett Brown and the 76ers, getting his team without 2 starters in Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward here. And LeBron James, again, doing what LeBron James does, leading his team past the Raptors, past the Pacers, and getting to another Eastern Conference Finals. Let's look at it this way, boys. Who has the edge coming into the series? Is it Boston or is it LeBron?
That's a tough one.
LeBron. Like, come on.
Well, I'm just saying. Boston does have home court advantage. Boston does have the better coach in Brad Stevens.
I find it humor. Like, yes, there's things that are different. Like, although Boston coming into this series, it's almost the same thing as last year. No Isaiah Thomas last time, without their main guy. This year they're without Kyrie and Gordon Hayward. They added that, but really never had him the whole year.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they add a guy like J-Tay. But also, you lost Kyrie Irving, but so did the Cavs, because the Cavs had Kyrie last year. So there are different things, but this is a series where I feel like it's one where it's like I kind of want to root for the Celtics in this one, but I don't think, like, I'm not going to go into it like it is. The Raptors are going to beat the Cavs. Yeah, I was
You're going to
wrong.
be the Chuck Lock on that one?
I can't. I got to go with, like, I want to say LeBron's going to win it, but I want to root for the Celtics. I do. I want to root hardcore for the Celtics.
8 straight years of being in the Eastern Conference Finals and 7 straight years going to the NBA Finals. Will that be stopped by Boston, Dave?
I don't think so. I think LeBron James is just too LeBron Jamesy. Like, he's just
too LeBron Jamesy.
He's gotten better. How is he Benjamin Buttoning the league right now?
Better.
I don't understand how this is working, but what I do understand is that I respect the hell out of Brad Stevens for what he's done. I think that this is a team that has gone miles above all the expectations people had for them, especially with the circumstances with injuries piling up as the year went on. It's been incredible, and all it's proven to us is that, yes, Brad Stevens is a world-class coach, and the LeBron James is probably by far, and I'm going to still say it's by far the best player in the NBA.
Well, let's look at it this way, because I don't think anyone's going to disagree with you that LeBron James is the best best player in the NBA, and I don't think anyone's going to disagree with you that
I'm
Brad
not putting
Stevens,
myself on a ledge there.
Brad Stevens is a top 5 coach, probably even a top 3
Some hot
coach
takes.
in the NBA, even though he didn't get a Coach of the Year vote. But looking at last year's performance, again, Ricky mentioned it, Isaiah Thomas was out for that. They really relied heavily on Marcus Smart to be the guy. They added Jason Tatum. Jaylen Brown, even though he was a little banged up in that Philly series, was big throughout the season for the Celtics. Scary Terry has been unreal for the Celtics in the past 2 series. You also have Al Horford, who's not only the most consistent big man, also a massive leader on the floor as well. Marcus Morris has been a good contributor. Looking at the players on Boston, do you think they have a better shot this year compared to last year? Because also Brad Stevens saw what LeBron James could bring in the Eastern Conference Finals last year.
I'm going to say yeah, and the 2 reasons why is Kyrie's not on the Cavs. Like, yeah, the Celtics don't have him, but he's not on the Cavs, and that's taking away something that the Cavs had last year. And also, you mentioned J-Tay. He's brand new. He's been playing well for the Celtics. But really, Jaylen Brown also. Like, yeah, he was here last year, but every single game came off the bench, only averaged 12.6 minutes last year. This year, he's averaging 32 minutes per game. Yeah, he started 8, came off the bench in a few of them, but really, he's playing more minutes. He's seeing more time. So really, I think it's Al Horford is the vet, and then what can J-Tay and Jaylen Brown do with the other cast of Celtics kind of filling in? Exactly. What can Brown do for you?
Yeah, no, I agree with her. Yeah, I think that a lot of this team is... Honestly, it's young talent, but it has a veteran presence there to balance out. It's day and night versus what Philly did. Philly put the ball in the hands of freshmen, sophomore players who definitely their inexperience showed, and it showed bright. And Brett Brown fell over himself basically with poor play calling for the situational instances where it was just like, you shouldn't roll with that. You shouldn't roll with that, but he's giving his young players a chance to shoot themselves in the foot. And meanwhile, you have Brad Stevens coaching masterfully, setting up his young players to have excelling roles. Like, they kind of continue to grow throughout these playoffs. You watch them lean heavier on the veterans in the first series against the Bucks, and then the second series against the 76ers, you watched more and more trust build up, and you watched Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Terry Rozier really contributed at a high level. Well, Al Horford kept the calm.
And that's the one thing that I was thinking coming in, and I want to ask you guys, is when it comes down to, for me, I think like Cavs Celtics, vets versus youth. Because I look at the Celtics, mainly in their series with the 76ers, every time there was a big moment, like coming out of a timeout, Brad Stevens needed to call something, who did he go to? Al Horford. He went to the veteran presence on this team. Whereas you look at just the top 4 scorers in the playoffs for the Cavs, LeBron, yeah, he's the best player in the NBA right now, but he's got 14 years experience. K-Love's got 9 years experience. Korver's got 14 years experience. JR's got 13 years experience. Like, will the better, I'm not going to say better veterans, but better veteran presence for the Cavs really be the nail in the coffin and be the thing that boosts the Cavs over the Boston in the end? I
mean, you mentioned Boston's youth. They still are the youngest team in the NBA playoffs, and that was with Philly still in the playoffs as well. And this is a team that had the experience last year. Not J-Tay, but most of the Boston team does have playoff experience. Maybe not at the same minutes that they've been used to, but they still have those playoff experience. I think that clearly it's just going to be not just the veterans, but it's just going to be LeBron versus the youth and how do they match up. Because you look at last year, you look at the 5 games that they played. All the games that Cleveland won, LeBron scored over 30 points, and they won by 10. The only game that they lost, he scored 11 points, and Boston won by 3. So clearly the blueprint should be for Boston. I don't think this is too crazy to say. You need to slow down LeBron James. Not too crazy of an idea, but it's going to be difficult, and we saw that because they couldn't do it for 4 other games last year. However, it's just going to be Jaylen Brown, who had experience last year guarding LeBron. How does he do? Jason Tatum has shown to be a really good defender throughout his career so far. And also, crazy enough, Marcus Morris is a physical beast who, again, is very similar height-wise and has a decent amount of athleticism and has experience guarding LeBron James. Can those 3 do enough to take down LeBron James and at least slow him down? So that's going to be the biggest question for me is, can you keep him under 30 points per game? And then also, if you're able to do so, can you slow down those guys on the outside like J.R. Smith and Kyle Korver? And we know, again, like Marcus Smart will probably be able to do that at least to one of them. So
I would put Smart on LeBron. Like, you share LeBron with Jaylen Brown and Smart. Yeah. Honestly, Marcus Smart is just ridiculously annoying defensively. There is nothing that man can't do to get at people.
He's that annoying fly that's just flying around your head.
He has incredible instincts with his hands going for the ball. He knows exactly how to position himself, and I think the biggest thing, LeBron has to use his weight and his size to his advantage, because I don't think that there's a big edge there as far as quickness. So I think that really it's going to come down to, if you see the matchup where Smart's on him, he's going to try to work the low block, down on the low post, and work his way up to the block. If it's Jaylen Brown on him, he can try to match him up high and try to like hit a runner. But
that's one thing that we saw last year was when LeBron had anybody really on him on Boston, he just took him to the low block and just used his body and dominated them. That's why I'm thinking Marcus Morris is going to play at least a somewhat of a near at least half of the possessions on LeBron, just because of Marcus Morris's size. I know LeBron has the quickness over Marcus Morris, but again, at least physicality-wise, he's going to be able to slow that down. And then maybe on the perimeter, that's where Marcus Smart comes in, because he does have that physicality, at least on the outside, to possibly pester LeBron James. And I also think, again, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they have the athleticism to guard him one-on-one. It just boils down to, will they have enough experience to take down LeBron? Now, the question, again, I think we should bring it back to is LeBron, this is a different team for Boston last year, this is a different team for Cleveland last year, but again, the kind of basics are the same. LeBron and K-Love, and then you have Jaylen Brown, Al Horford, Marcus Smart, Terry Rozier as the guys for Boston. So going back to Boston, do they need to hold LeBron under 15 points, under 20 points to get wins like they needed to last year? Or can they allow LeBron to maybe beat them, score near 30, and still pull out a win?
I'm going to say 30 is the magic number, and the reason why I'm saying that is I'm going back. I'm completely ignoring the Raptor series, to be honest. I know that some people say, well, it's nothing. No. It's nothing against LeBronto, but the thing that I kind of feel about that series is LeBron played up for that one. Like, even in the regular season when they played the Raptors, they played up to basically say, I am beating you down just because I can. This other team beat me last week, or beat me in the last game, but I am going to destroy you because you are not better than me.
It's like that. You think you're the 1 seed, so you're better than us? Yeah, let's see how that works out for you in the postseason. And then it's 4-0.
And that's why I go back to the Pacers series. And in that series, game 1, LeBron scores 24. The Cavs lose that game. Game 2, LeBron scores, 46. They win that game. The next game, he scores 28. They lose that game. The next one, he scores over 30. They win. The next one, he scores over 30 at 44. They win. Then he has 22. They lose. And then game 7, he had 42, and they won. Now, some of those were questionable defensive positions that, hey, maybe Nate McMillan should have had his guys with better defense. That is why I think if the Celtics kind of not mirror, but take some things that Indy did. Indy has the lesser coach, and that's nothing against McMillan, lesser coach than Boston has, because Brad Stevens will have those guys in better defensive situations to guard a final shot.
And one thing I do want to throw in there, I know you were taking out the Toronto series, but I say you can even throw that in there for the 30 magic number, because you look at the game where he scored 26, LeBron, they only won by 1 point.
Yeah.
That wasn't a crazy thing. No, it was game. That was game 1.
Yeah, because game one also had the anomaly where the Raptors missed 11 of their final shots.
Yeah. And LeBron only went for 6 from the free throw line there too. And then also the last game, he just scored 1 point. He scored 29 points, so just under 30. But also that the Cleveland didn't miss in that game. So that's one thing that's definitely going to play into a factor here. So again, I think 30 is probably the magic number. Yeah. But will they be able to do that, Dave? I mean, do they have? I mean, does Brad Stevens, can he implement a defensive game plan where he can slow down LeBron? Because last year he was able to do it for one game. LeBron had an off night. Will they be able to get enough off nights from LeBron to really pull out a series?
I think a lot of this is going to depend on it's the opposite. If you can slow down the rest of his team to an extent, then it forces LeBron into taking worse shots and having worse shooting percentages. I mean, higher usage. Like, it turns into I don't want to say you Patriots this one where you take away their number 2 in K Love, someone who is known to fluctuate. Right now he's incredibly hot. He was incredibly cold before that. If you knock K Love down to the point where you shut him down game 1 and you feel like LeBron has nowhere else to turn with the ball, then you start making LeBron make poor decisions. That's how you can actually beat this team, because physically they can't match up to LeBron James. They might hold him to 25 or something 30, but at the end of the day, LeBron's going to get his. I don't foresee another 11-point LeBron game. I don't think that's going to happen. I think you need to attack his support, because that is the weakest link on this Cleveland team. If you can knock K-Love down and be physical with him, Aaron Baines sure as hell can be. He's someone who I would have on K-Love. Same with Horford. I think both those guys in combination can work really well. And on that outside, like I said, if Marcus Smart's not on LeBron, if you have him trailing around Kyle Korver or J.R. Smith, one of their wings who is just jacking up threes all game, you're going to create problems for LeBron, because his normally open looks won't be as open. I'm
going to go first, Ricky, and I just want to throw this out there. The reason why I'm not bringing in regular season into this, because the games that they played against each other, there was one where LeBron had the current squad that he does.
Right.
But even in that game, Kyrie was playing for Boston. So there has never been a game where these lineups have been out there.
Okay.
So that's one thing where, even though LeBron had, again, compared to his season averages, a worse season average in the 3 games against Boston, 24 points, shot 53% from the field, around 25% from 3. You really still can't look at that, because it's completely different teams. And the one game where they did have everybody on that Cleveland squad, they won 121-98. So they beat up Boston.
I don't know. I'll kind of do one better. And the reason why is I'm not going to use regular season. The thing that I look at is, and to me, the last thing that I got to bring into this is Brad Stevens. He is, I know he's not a player, but he is the most valuable player, coach, whatever acronym you want to use. He's the most valuable person to this MVP. Celtics team. And the reason why I say that is, look at the series they just played. And I'm just looking at game 1. And the reason why I'm looking at that is the Celtics have a similar situation that they did coming into the 76er series. The 76ers, they had a 5-game series in round 1 against the Heat. Their last game was on April 24th. They didn't play Boston until April 30th. Well rested, coming in. Then you got the Celtics. They go ahead. They play a grueling 7-game series against Giannis and the Bucks. April 28th, they beat the Bucks in Game 7. 2 days later, they've got to go home to play Philadelphia for the next series. And they come out in that one. Al Horford has 26. Tatum has 28. Scary Terry has 29. That's what I feel like they could add that to the game plan. Do what Dave says. Maybe try to shut down K Love, so LeBron has to do it all on his own. And if they get at least 25 performance out of 3 players, good luck, LeBron, trying to beat us on your own. We'll let you score 46 while 3 of our guys score 25 each.
Well, I mean, the one thing, too, going back
But can you do that 4 times against LeBron? Yeah. That's the thing.
LeBron.
But again, that comes down to also defense. Like, are they going to will Cleveland have a strong enough defense? Because, I mean, again, they shut down Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan.
4-on-5 because he's back on the other end just kind of lollygagging.
Okay, that was like one play.
I know. I still get
the guy's been playing the most minutes in this whole entire season. He's 33 years old.
Still got to give him shit about
I know.
it,
If they lost the series, then that would have been a huge play.
Probably should have lost that series.
They won the series, and then they ran through LeBron's house.
I know.
So I don't care about that one play.
Though.
Well, yeah, but you could also bring up the whole goaltending play as well, where that should have been goaltending, and
there
they
was
come
a lot
back,
of
come
things
back
in
and hit
that
the
series,
3.
but point is they moved on.
Yeah, they moved on. So that's why I don't care about that play.
I think my concern for the Celtics team is you look at them, and I'm going to be honest, I know I'm probably going to eat some shit from Celtics fans, but this series, the one they came out of against the 76ers, was determined entirely by turnovers and self-made mistakes or forced mistakes from this Boston Celtics team. The 76ers shot awfully on unguarded threes, and by unguarded I mean within defender within 4 feet of the shooter. They had a terrible shooting percentage from the outside, uncharacteristic of their team and of their players. They had a lot of unforced errors. And yes, Boston played good defense. These are number 1, number 2 defensive teams in the league during the regular season. I still think that you have to come out of that series and going, yes, they played really well, but at the same time, they won because the other team lost,
Well,
not because they played miles ahead of the other team.
The one thing I want to throw into that, although I don't completely disagree, the thing I'm going to throw in is with the whole Boston 76er series, I feel like Brad Stevens outcoached Brett Brown. Where it was like, close. Where it was like Brad Stevens was putting his players in all the right spots, and it's
Brett
like
Brown's lucky that
it's like, wait, Brett Brown, you had 6 games to get ready for this team, and this is what you put out there?
People were calling for Brett Brown to get fired.
I know. They were talking about it today on First
The fact that he yoinked T.J. McConnell out of a game when T.J. was plus 18 and Ben Simmons was negative 3 at the time. And you're like, yeah, Ben's going to take us home on this one after TJ brought us back.
So you saying that, Brad Stevens outcoached Brett Brown is like saying the sky's blue.
I know.
It's like saying Ty Lue is going to outcoach
to me,
anybody.
that played a huge implication on the series as well.
No, I just think that, yes, coaching is critical, and that's definitely the reason why the Celtics team has been so empowered to get it done during this playoff run. But at the same time, I look at that and I go, you eked by Giannis, who is a worse version of LeBron James. You eked by Ben Simmons, who is a worse version of LeBron James. I'm not saying exactly, but they've had problems.
2 LeBrons who can't shoot.
Yeah, 2 LeBrons who can't shoot, and you eked by both of them.
Yeah.
So, and I know 4-1 eked, whatever.
But
watch the games, watch how the games rolled out.
An overtime win in Philly that again was very iffy. Marco, if he's a foot back, that's a game winner. Embiid throwing the ball away, not hustling.
Yeah,
there was a couple missed shots at the end of the game, and then also that last game. Even look at the last play. Ben Simmons just threw the ball out of bounds.
Like I said, there's so many situations where I feel like yes, you outcoach them, but at the same time, you are not miles ahead of them.
Well, people are shocked you won the series.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You're walking away like, holy shit, Brad Stevens is a great coach because we were all hyping up, the media, us, everyone was hyping up as Philly to be the team to take down.
I had them in my finals.
Yeah, everyone was hyping them up to be the next great team, and then they came out and just showed their inexperience.
Here's the thing I want to throw out, and this is the implication of what I think Boston can do in this series, even if they lose the series. If, to me, they take Cleveland to 6, let's say Cleveland wins in 6, and then Cleveland goes on, plays Warriors, Rockets, whoever, but loses in the finals. What I think that may do, in my mind, yet again, we've said it before, I don't know LeBron personally.
The tinfoil hat ready, boys.
But if I'm LeBron, I'm sitting there going, oh, shit, I didn't win the finals, so there's that. And this Celtic team took this team to 6, and they're getting Kyrie and Gordon Hayward back next year. Maybe I need to go somewhere else.
Maybe my team needs to reload on talent for the third straight year.
Maybe they play into a situation where LeBron goes to a Philly, goes to a Houston, because he feels, man, this Boston team took us to 6, and they didn't even have Kyrie or Gordon Hayward.
He should just join Boston.
Kyrie would love it, man.
I'm not talking LeBron free agency. This is strictly an Eastern Conference.
Just wanted to throw it out there. That's the implication that the Celtics can have.
That's what you're reading into
it. All right, let's get down to predictions and how each team can win. So Dave, give me a key to each team winning. So for Cleveland, what does Cleveland need to do to win? What does Boston need to do to win? And then give me an X factor, and I'll go to Ricky for the same questions, and then we'll do predictions for the games. So what does Cleveland need to do to win? What does Boston need to do to win? And then X factor for player-wise or coaching-wise.
All right. Cleveland's key to victory in this series is going to be, guess what, LeBron James. It's LeBron James controlling the ball. And honestly, I think it's pace. I think if he gets them going at the right pace, this Boston team is known to let teams go on runs, and that is something you need to be careful of. Brad Stevens is excellent at calling timeout, managing the clock, managing the momentum of the game. But when LeBron James gets intense, he can score, 15 out of Cleveland's 16 points. He can do that anytime a switch flips. So I think if he knows the momentum and he feels the pace of the game, he knows how to take advantage of that. And a young team can be easily swayed by momentum. And that's something that Al Horford has to stop, something that Brad Stevens has to stop, because if it gets going bad early, I don't know if this is a team, and I know this is a team who's come back from ridiculous turnarounds in the third quarter, fourth, but that's what I would be afraid of. I think that's how the Cleveland Cavaliers can win it, with LeBron controlling momentum. Boston wins it by locking down K-Love and a secondary shooter, whether it's J.R. Corver, whichever one's hotter. I think that's the key, because you can slow LeBron. You can't stop LeBron. Just admit it. There's no LeBron stopper in the league. It doesn't exist. But what you can do is take K-Love, who, like I said earlier, is a heavy chance of being excellent or a high chance of being completely unproductive and looking disappointing on the floor. So if you can knock him down game 1, game 2, knock him out of the series, basically. I mean, be physical with him. You have Aaron Baines, you have Al Horford, play him low on the block. You can keep control on him. So I think if you take him out and cover one of those shooters, then you have a really good chance of limiting LeBron's looks and limiting the ability to get those wide open threes and the momentum plays, honestly, as far as fast breaks are concerned. Slow that down, you got a chance.
It's LeBron. You can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him. And for me, I feel this series is going to be, it's what I think it's going to be and what I'm hoping it'll be, an ultimate chess match between LeBron and Brad Stevens. Not Ty Lue and Brad Stevens, LeBron and Brad Stevens. Like, they are going to be the ones, LeBron controlling the pace, maybe trying to slow the game down at points. Maybe Boston wants to run with it. Or if the Cavs start running with it, Brad Stevens calling the timeouts like Dave mentioned. I think this is going to be a game where Brad Stevens, I'm going to put my players in the best situation, and LeBron, I'm going to put my team in the best situation, and it's going to be that chess match between best coach right now and best player right now.
Who's the X factor for either in this series? Who's the biggest X factor?
I'll go players with this one. I'll go LeBron for Cleveland, and then I'm gonna go J-Tay for Boston.
Can the two stars of the team be X factors? That's interesting picks there. Biggest key for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and just again LeBron James. It's just going to be the assist to turnover ratio. You look at Ben Simmons, what he did in that Boston series. He averaged 6.4 assists per game and turned the ball over about 5 times per game. So I mean that assist to turnover ratio, that's about very close to a little over 1 right there. LeBron throughout this playoff run has been assist to turnover ratio about 2.9. So if he's able to keep that spread apart, if he's able to keep it at 9 assists per game, 3 turnovers per game, I think that's going to be a massive key for Cleveland, especially early on in the series. If they're able to get 2 games off of Boston, that's going to be huge. For Boston, at least team-wise, I think it's just going to boil down to can they slow down LeBron, force those turnovers, and then just come back on offense and start blasting that Cleveland defense. And if they're able to weaken that Cleveland defense like we saw early in the season, early when this team came together, then that will afford the advantage to win the game. Biggest X factor, I think, for both teams is going to be, weirdly enough, Rodney Hood. Coming off and providing bench scoring for Cleveland is going to be massive. We saw what he did in that first game. He had a massive game, him and Jordan Clarkson. Those two, I think, coming off the bench, if they're able to provide bench scoring for Cleveland, is going to be absolutely huge. Now let's go real quick on this one. Predictions for the Eastern Conference Finals. Dave, who you got?
I've got LeBron in 5.
5.
I am going to go...
Same as last year.
I am going to be the biggest Celtic fan this series, but I'm going to go Cavs in 7.
And I already bet my car, so I can't do it, but I'll say sweep. LeBron James in 4. Might come back to bite me. But again, it's LeBron James.
I'm being bold. I'm being bold with the 7, but I can't pick against the Cavs.
Fair enough.
That's the thing. It's like I can't pick against the Cavs. So if I'm just going to pick the Cavs, then I don't think they're going to lose. I mean, even though Boston has great talent, Boston has the better coach, Boston is going to have home court advantage.
I look at it this way. If Indy could bring LeBron to 7 games, a better talented Boston team with a better coach can do the same.
But also, I mean, you could say the same thing about Toronto. Toronto was more talented than Indiana. Toronto had a better coach.
LeBron played up for that, though.
And you don't think LeBron's going to play up to
You don't think LeBron
jump all over Kyrie's team? The one he jumped
LeBron's
ship to?
red hot right
Kyrie
now.
might not. Kyrie's not out there, so we'll see how that.
I don't know. I don't think he has Hassan Whiteside performance issues.
Well, not that, but I think that there was a little extra oomph into it for Toronto.
Fair enough. I think you guys mentioned coaching, and that's the one note I want to drop out on my end is just there was a quote from Doc Rivers a while back. It was on Reddit, and it was basically
bringing Doc into the Celtic fold.
When LeBron was in Cleveland, he was just playing basketball. When he got to Miami, he's calling out plays. He's staring over our bench. He's reading stuff. I remember him saying, "This is not good. This is not good." Like that just sums up. LeBron has a mind for the game, and while Brad Stevens is the best coach on the sideline, LeBron is a coach on the floor.
Ultimate chess match.
He's telling people on the other team what they should be doing.
Anyways, let us know what you think of this matchup down in the comments below. Maybe a sweep is a little too mean towards Boston, but I'm going to pick it anyways. Let us know who you got in this series.